بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدنا علما وارزقنا فهما واجعلنا من الراشدين ببركة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. Alhamdulillah wa shukrullah. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to connect. And inshallah, I just wanted to share a few words. Quite important because these are things that keep coming up. And alhamdulillah, I've been away from social media for a little while. Because there's just so much content everyone is posting, mashallah, everyone's become an expert and they're sharing good content, alhamdulillah, and thought-provoking content. And I just sort of watching from behind the scenes, alhamdulillah. But then there are times when I feel, okay, we need to step in and share a few insights as well. So alhamdulillah, as you know, with Afia healing, there is the physical side, there's the emotional side to well-being. And what's extremely important here is to understand the impact of our actions and our words upon emotions. And again, for those of you that have been following me for a while, you'll see the same sort of pattern and trend, that is shared in my talks. But it's important, I think the reminder is very important. So what we want to touch on today is the impact, because I've been seeing a few clients recently and the same pattern keeps coming up. The parent has got issues, okay, in terms of physical conditions, whether it's IBS, there might be hypertension, there might be fertility issues, and their children, okay, have behavioral issues. And these children are quite young, so under adolescent age, up to about 10, 11. And there's always this having to juggle almost with emotions personally and emotions of the child. What we need to understand here is whatever's going on inside of us, if we do not express it in a healthy way, our children will express it on our behalf. Whatever we do not express in a healthy way, our children will express it on our behalf, and you will have no control over it. I spoke to a client today, and their maybe 6, 7, 8-year-old child has had to have some form of a overgrown skin that's almost suffocating the child. It's like an extension of a tonsil maybe, okay? And tonsils have an emotional root cause. Anything that happens around the mouth area is all about not being able to express yourself. And subhanallah, yesterday I was speaking to one of our Afia participants, one of our Afia graduates, and they were mentioning that their mother passed away from throat cancer. And upon further inquiry, it became very apparent that this poor lady was subjected to a lot of torments, a lot of, oppression. Okay, it was a narcissistic relationship, a lot of abuse from the husband, and just being trapped. And that in itself, subhanallah, would be a major contributing factor into her developing this, expression of feeling trapped. And so this is something that we really need to look at. A lot of the times we see that when children are born, depending on how the pregnancy actually goes, okay, because if there's a lot of emotion that the mother is going through at that point in time, those emotions impact the baby. Just like we know that if you eat healthy food, the child will be healthy. If the mother at that point in time is addicted to drugs, whatever drugs it may be, if it's cocaine or meth or whatever else it is, the child already is born with that addiction. So in the same way as Muslims, alhamdulillah, we are told, recite Quran and recite Durood and recite all of these things during your pregnancy. Why? Because there will be a spiritual impact on the child. But what is not spoken about is the emotional impact upon the child. If the body that is carrying that child is under high levels of stress, then what tends to happen? That stress is passed into the baby. And that's where the baby is not just absorbing what it hears from within the womb, but it's also acting upon the emotions that the mother is feeling. And if the mother is in a fight and flight mode, the adrenaline that's rushing through her body, the cortisol that's running through the body, where do you think that's passing through as well? It's almost as if the baby becomes addicted to this, to the cortisol, adrenaline, like a drug. And so when they are born and when they're not getting that level of adrenaline coming in or cortisol coming in, there is going to be behavioral issues. And so that's what we need to start looking at. That's what we need to start taking into consideration, because this is one of the things that is happening, subhanallah, is people do not want to take ownership of their healing. And it's not easy to start working on yourself to heal. It requires discipline. It requires a level of commitment, okay, and a level of himma, of strength, internal sort of, desire to persevere. And if you are not able to do this, we need to understand why and where is it connected to. And subhanallah, if you do not heal, and if you just keep pushing this aside, pushing this aside, pushing this aside, then your children will be affected by it. Your relationships around you are affected or will be affected. And you really need to take that into consideration. There are people, subhanallah, that want to heal, but then they'll look at the cost benefit factor and think, well, I've already spent so many thousands already, nothing's worked. Now what do I do? You keep trying. You keep unturning those stones until you find the stone under which Allah has put your shifa. Okay, and this is what we are really banging on about, that take this seriously. Take this seriously, because it's not just about you. Okay, why do you want to live a life that is going to be filled with suffering, emptiness, and sadness and depression? And this is not the life that we as Muslims should want to live. And it's not about just about being Muslim, this is about being human. We should be able to choose. Okay, and where do we get all the emotions from? It's when we start to not mind our own business. Once we start to stick our beaks into other people's business, then we have exchanges that are not healthy. And sometimes you could just randomly just be doing your own thing, and suddenly someone else does something to you. So in all of these different scenarios and situations, we get dragged in, but the response to each of those situations is our choice. And it is time that we start choosing how we respond. And this is what is sad in a way, subhanallah, is we can find money to buy a new TV. We can find money to buy our Eid clothes. We can find money for our children's Nike shoes. Okay, and they want a Nintendo Switch, and they want the PS5, and whatever new thing is out there, we manage to find the money for that. But when it comes to our own well-being, when it comes to our own emotional balance, then the desire and the need goes away. We can do without. No, you cannot do without. And this we see with businessmen as well, or businesswomen, is that for your business, you will go and buy yourself an expensive laptop. You'll buy a £1,500 laptop, and then I need a light, and I need this, and I need that equipment, and I need that equipment, subhanallah. And why? Because I need it. It will help my business grow. But what is your business's biggest asset? It's you. If you are not functioning, your business doesn't function, regardless of the highest tech equipment that you have. It just will not work. And so these are things that we really need to look at, is everything begins with you. Okay, if it's a business or if it's a relationship, 20% of your business is about you and the faculty of your strategy and everything that you put in. But 80% of your business or your relationship is about your emotions. It's your emotional mastery. It's your emotional resilience. It's the ability to hold firm, okay, in order to persevere. Because any challenge in life, whatever it may be, whatever project you undertake, if you are not emotionally present there, it is not going to work in your favor. So, inshallah, I'm putting this out to you. Okay. Next week, Monday, the Deep Trauma Release Masterclass is starting. And whoever resonates with this message, please come forward and take this workshop if you haven't already done so. Why? Because we dig down to your deep rooted emotions. Okay, why is it that you've got IBS? Why is it you've got hypertension? Why is it that you've got arthritis in your joints? Why is it that your neck hurts? Why is it that you've got fibroids? Why is it that you've got infertility? Why is it that you've got this negative self-talk consistently about yourself? It's all to do with the emotions that we picked up as children usually. And then every life experience after this just compounds upon each other. And subhanallah, there's so many stories that I would love to share with you. But again, there's a time and a place. Okay, so for now, all I'm saying is have a look. Okay, it's 4 sessions over 2 weeks, Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday. So you get 4 sessions with myself over 2 weeks. And over the 2 weeks, you put in a WhatsApp group. I support you through that whole journey. It's a group. And in that group, subhanAllah, what happens is everyone prays for one another. Okay, we make dua for one another. And at the same time, it's motivational. The most important thing is that nothing personal is discussed. Nothing personal is discussed. You are not required to come out and say, oh, this happened to me, then this happened to me. I'm not interested. No one else is interested. What I'm interested in is, do you have what it takes to walk this path from identifying the root cause to reaching a place of self-love and acceptance? And if you can do that, subhanallah, then this is what's going to start changing your life. For some people, alhamdulillah, there's a massive shift. For some people, these are incremental shifts. And alhamdulillah, earlier this year, we had, sisters that were trying to get pregnant, infertile, all the rest of it, went through the deep trauma process, identified within themselves that they were holding on to anger against themselves, feeling bad at themselves that because I'm in a particular body shape, and this is why I can't get pregnant. And this was a belief that was held up in the subconscious, subhanallah. And once they processed it, within 2 weeks, alhamdulillah, they had the good news that Allah has blessed them with uh, being able to carry a child. And this is not just a one-off. This happens regularly, alhamdulillah, not just with myself, even with our practitioners who are working with their clients as well. So it's so important that we connect, we understand where our blockages are. And once we understand those blockages and other blockages, subhanAllah, like, in terms of narcissistic relationships, okay, why is it that victims cannot leave? Why is it that victims cannot stand up to this? Why? Because the emotional overload is too much. Go through the deep trauma process and understand what you are carrying, what is yours and what is not yours. And when you're able to do that, you start building a boundary for yourself. Okay, because without boundaries, you keep getting abused, you keep getting oppressed, you keep going through those same motions over and over again. Once those boundaries are built, once you gain clarity in your mindset, you can take that next step. So anything that you come across, anything that is stopping you and blocking you, and especially when it comes in regards to your family, especially your children. Beyond that, subhanallah, even in intimacy, okay, there are barriers that come up. Okay, either it's painful or there's an odor, there is infections. All of these things are signs of repelling someone away. And so again, looking at the inner emotional dynamics that actually take place, what goes on, that is what is going to that is what's going to really connect. Okay, that's what's really going to connect you to the root cause. And once that root cause is connected, identified, released, processed and released, alhamdulillah, we start to see results. So I hope and pray, inshallah, that you're able to join us. For those that have already done it, alhamdulillah, please leave your feedback again and share it with those that are in need of something like this. So if you do have any questions, specific questions, you can either put it into the chat or message me, inshallah, and then we'll take it from there. To make life easier for people, you have the choice of a one-off payment, or you can break it down over 4 months. Okay, over 4 months. So just like buying your TV or getting a new car, you have options of installments, inshallah. So I hope and pray, inshallah, this message resonates with you, that you take this opportunity, okay, to really sort of click in with us and then start healing. Because every one person that gets healed, beyond that, inshallah, a generation is healed. So may Allah bless you, raise you, increase you, inshallah. And we will see you on the deep trauma, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم.